Recently, a student asked me, what is the best way to care for your instrument? Violins, sometimes I think about violins as living beings or as living organisms that need care and love just like any of us do. So I think it's very important to think about this a little bit so that our violin serves us the best of its ability as often as possible. The first thing to bear in mind is, of course, to wipe off your strings regularly. I always carry a cloth in my violin case, and when I'm done playing, I just simply wipe the rosin off the strings. And I also take the cloth here, I can show you, and wipe off this area right underneath the bridge, as a lot of rosin tends to accumulate there, and underneath this part of the bridge as well. You also want to wipe off the fingerboard every now and then. Just a simple cloth will do, because there's a lot of oil and grease in your hand that builds up, and that will seep into your fingerboard, into your neck, and will eventually cause the varnish to deteriorate. So you need to be careful about that. I recommend taking your violin in at least every 6 months to a professional adjuster that can adjust the violin for you, that can clean your fingerboard, that can dress any holes or any bumps that have occurred in your fingerboard. That's very important to do. Violins are very sensitive to changes in climate. Too much humidity or too much dryness is going to cause the violin to change both in its responsiveness and in its sound and in its playability. So especially during significant weather changes, take your violin in regularly to have it adjusted, but make it a point of every 6 months. Find someone in your town that you trust and just have them adjusted. It's not very expensive. Generally, adjustments can run from anywhere from $20 to up to $90 is the most expensive I've ever seen them in shops in big cities. The same thing with the bow. Make sure you regularly wipe rosin off the bow. Of course, that you loosen the bow after every time that you play. With regards to strings, people ask me sometimes, how often should you change the strings? That depends, of course, upon the type of string you use and how often you play. But definitely every 6 months you should plan on putting on a new set of strings, because strings do get old. And if you play often, let's say like 4 or 5 hours a day, you should ideally be changing your strings at least every other month, sometimes even every month. I believe Itzhak Perlman changes his strings every week, is what I've heard. Don't forget to rehair your bow regularly. Bow hair gets worn out, and often I see students that haven't rehaired their bow for 1 or 2 years, and it causes all kinds of technical problems for them. They'd have to tense up much more to be able to make a sound that would be much easier for them if they just simply had better hair and newer hair. So hair wears out, so just make sure you have that rehaired. So all in all, I would say that you should probably plan on budgeting around $300 to $400 per year just to maintain good upkeep on your violin. And of course, make sure, especially if you have a more, let's say, upper class violin, that you keep your violin insured. There's separate insurances you can get for your instrument that are very cheap and that will cover any major damages. For instance, if you get a crack in your instrument, if the fingerboard falls, or if God forbid, you should drop it and the top falls off, any number of things can happen, and those repairs can be sometimes very, very expensive, even beyond 5 figures. So I would recommend getting some kind of a violin insurance that would cover you in case that happens.